Let me begin with a question. Have you ever tried to stop thinking by thinking even harder? You sit there, eyes shut, breathing deep, trying to silence your mind. But it only gets louder. Your thoughts don't slow down. They sprint. I used to believe that meditation meant closing my eyes, clearing my mind, and sitting still like a monk in the Himalayas. And every time I failed to do that, I told myself, maybe I'm just not cut out for peace. But what if I told you, you don't need to close your eyes to find stillness? What if letting go of racing thoughts starts by simply looking? In this talk, I want to share a form of meditation that changed my life. Not the silent breath-counting kind, but visual meditation, a quiet artistic practice that helps us anchor into the moment by seeing, not suppressing. Let's be honest, we live in a world that trains us to overthink. From the moment we wake up, we're bombarded with choices, headlines, worries, comparisons. And inside, it gets noisy. Not loud like traffic, but loud like what if, should I, why didn't I, what's next? Loud like guilt, loud like doubt. Overthinking isn't a flaw. It's our brain's way of trying to protect us, to predict danger, prevent failure, prepare for rejection. But here's the paradox. The more we try to think our way out of the storm, the more we get pulled in. We try to fight thoughts with more thoughts. We try to shut off the noise by commanding silence, and it doesn't work. So how do we escape? The answer is not escape. It's reorientation. Instead of trying to control the mind, we redirect the mind. And that's where visual meditation comes in. Close your eyes. Now open them. Take a slow look at the image below. In a visual version, this would be a lake, a cloud moving, a tree swaying. Notice how the water moves, how the light flickers through the leaves, how there's rhythm without rush. That's not just pretty, that's medicine for your mind. Visual meditation is the practice of gently placing your attention on something visual, a still scene, a piece of art, a moving cloud, a single object, and letting your mind soften into seeing. It's not about not thinking. It's about not chasing every thought that appears. Here's the beautiful secret. Your brain cannot be fully in watching mode and worrying mode at the same time. One will slowly dissolve the other. Visual meditation is not passive. It's an act of surrender, not by force, but by focus. You might be wondering, does this actually work, or is it just poetic? Neuroscience gives us an answer. When you fix your gaze on a calming visual pattern, like flowing water or repetitive textures in nature, your default mode network, DMN, the part of the brain responsible for rumination and self-referential thinking, begins to quiet down. Even more, your parasympathetic nervous system, the one in charge of calming you, starts to activate. Your breathing slows, your heartbeat steadies, your cortisol drops. In other words, you biologically begin to let go. And this is not limited to nature. Even digital visual anchors, like a slow animated loop, abstract patterns, or calming motion graphics, can guide your mind into the same state. You don't need a forest, you just need to look with intention. Let me guide you through a simple exercise you can do right now. You can be sitting at your desk, on a train, even lying in bed. 1. Choose a visual anchor. It can be anything. A candle flame, a photo, a painting, a tree outside your window, a looping animation on your screen. The key is it should feel gentle, not intense. 2. Set a timer for 3 to 5 minutes, that's all. You're not aiming for hours, you're aiming for presence. 3. Begin to observe. Don't try to judge or analyze, just look. Trace lines. Notice textures. Watch motion. 4. Breathe naturally, no control. Just notice how your breath follows your eyes. 5. Notice the drift, then gently return. Your mind will wander. That's not a problem. Every time you notice it, simply bring your attention back to your anchor. There. That's meditation. Not by shutting down your mind, but by opening your senses. Letting go is easy in theory, but in reality, it feels like dying a little. We cling to thoughts because they make us feel in control. We replay conversations, plan for every outcome, analyze every word, because we think thinking equals safety. But the truth is, overthinking doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. It keeps you locked in a loop where no amount of analysis brings peace. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving space for something new to enter. Insight, peace, creativity, rest. Visual meditation isn't about erasing thoughts. It's about realizing you can sit beside your thoughts without following them into the dark. Let me tell you a personal story. A few years ago, I went through a period of chronic anxiety. I was successful on paper, but inside, I was drowning in endless thoughts. Emails I hadn't replied to, futures I hadn't reached, pasts I hadn't forgiven. Traditional meditation didn't work for me. I tried, failed, felt worse. Then one day I visited a gallery just to distract myself. I stood in front of a massive painting, just layers of blue, almost empty. I don't know how long I stood there, but when I left, my head felt spacious, lighter. So I tried again the next day, and the next, not at a gallery, just at home, looking at images, nature, art, movement. And slowly, I stopped fearing my thoughts, because I had something stronger to return to. A space I could enter any time I chose. A space made not of silence, but of stillness. The world today is noisy, and inside us, it's even louder. But you don't have to escape to the mountains or become a monk. You don't need perfect discipline or years of training. You just need a moment, a visual, a breath, a decision to look gently, to notice deeply, to return to yourself. In a world that constantly demands your attention, choosing where to place your gaze might be the most radical act of healing. So here's what I ask you to try. Tonight, before you go to bed, don't scroll your phone or battle your thoughts. Just find one image, something calming, and look at it for 3 minutes. That's it. Just look. Let the racing thoughts pass you by like clouds, and return again and again to that quiet place inside your eyes. If that helped, share it. Talk about it. Let someone else know. You don't have to fight your thoughts. You can simply watch them go, because healing doesn't always begin in silence. Sometimes it begins in sight.